When I gave Otto best boy status, I actually got some pushback from that. Some people saying, Otto, best boy, nonsense. I hope y'all feel dumb now. I truly hope y'all feel embarrassed by daring to accuse my boy of not being best boy. I hope you feel foolish after this week's episode. I hope you feel foolish. But with that said, hello everybody, welcome back to our weekly ReZero Season 2 discussion video. Today we're going to be talking all about Episode 7, Friend. But before we get into that, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subbed to the channel. And if you are, maybe hit that bell button too, just in case. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. Okay, so this week there are three major events, three major characters even that we should probably address. And none of them are Subaru. Subaru is the driving force in all three of these characters that we're going to be talking about. He is like what makes them do the things they do this week. But we are going to be talking about three characters, and none of them are Subaru. We're going to be talking, of course, about Beatrice. We're going to be talking about Garfiel. And we're going to be talking about Otto, my son, my precious boy. But before we get into why Otto is such a good lad, first, we gotta talk about Beatrice, my girl Biko. And man, B has a lot going on. I expected this whole episode to just be Beatrice and Subaru. Like, I expected this whole episode, based off what happened last week, I expected the whole thing to basically be the two of them in the library just having an argument, right? Like, that's kind of what I expected. And they most certainly have an argument. Like, there is an argument to be had. And it felt like such an argument that you would have with somebody you care a great deal about, where it's like they've done something to wrong you, but they're still somebody you care about. So it feels almost like even more heated because you care about them. Like, you're almost more upset, It's definitely that type of argument, but I did expect it to be the whole episode, and it is very much not. It takes up maybe the first quarter of the episode, if even. It's very brief. That said, there's a lot that happens in there that's worth discussing. I think, above all else, it's just how, as I said, heated it is, and that comes down to the seiyus. Yusuke Kobayashi and Satomi Arai just go in this week. I can't stress enough how much Arai and Kobayashi just bring it in this performance. Now, Kobayashi, we know that this fool can act his ass off. Arai, we also know, is a great seiyu, but it's just like the screaming in Biko's tone is mixed with like genuine heat, right? She's angry, and you can feel that anger. But it's also mixed with this, like, desperation, It's just so, I don't know, it's just hard to watch them fight. Especially considering, like, they're so goofy, Like, the two of them are so goofy and have had times where they just get to have fun and goof off. And Subaru even says, like, what about all those times we goofed off? What about all this? Like, what about that? And it's true. It's, like, that's probably part of the reason why it hurts to see them be mad at each other. Hell, it hurt to see Biko, like, throw him out of the library that one time, earlier in the season, because it's like, yeah, I don't like seeing these two be mad at each other. And, like, they've been, like, sassy with each other the entire friendship, but, like, and that is, like, the crux of the episode. It is just the friendship that forms between Subaru and these people, and how it can help him, but also how it can hurt him. And here, it very much is hurting him. Like, in as much as, like, they are friends, even though they're sassy to each other. And Subaru even says, like, those times, they really made me happy. Just before, Elsa walks in and ruins everything. But, it's tough. It's tough to watch. And Subaru doesn't help the situation. Like, he screams at Biko. Rightfully so. We know what Subaru's thinking as much as, like, you have no idea what you've done, right? Like Beatrice saving him, to her she's thinking, like, well, I saved him because A, that's probably what the book said to do, and B, they are friends no matter what B says, right? So for her it's like, I had to save you because the book said it, but also I had to save you because you're my friend and I want to save you, and I knew that I could, so I did. But for Subaru, it's like, I might be able to save them, and you could have ruined that. You could have, like, completely destroyed that. You don't even understand that, right? And like him screaming at her is so hard to watch, because like even before Arai starts bringing the thunder with the voice acting, like they actually make Bee look like the way that she shakes and is like startled by Subaru screaming at her. Like you feel it, right? You're like, don't yell at her like that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like I get why you're yelling, but don't yell at her like that. And when she starts yelling at Subaru, I'm like, don't yell at him like that. Like, you know, you feel like you're like, stop it, stop, both of you. Like you feel like you're the rational friend when two of your friends are fighting. That's what it feels like to watch this scene. It's like, stop it, both of you. You love each other, damn it. You're friends. Like, stop this. Like, it just is hard to watch, man. And like Subaru refusing Bee's help. Like, and she seems pissed by that, by the way. But Subaru just saying like, don't help me. Don't, like, I wish you didn't reach out to me. I would have rather died back there. I wish you didn't do that. Like, I really wish you weren't here right now. I wish you weren't helping me. You're not helping. By helping, you were actually not helping. But Bee doesn't know that. At least I don't assume she knows that. Cause, okay, now, confession time. You guys know that, and I've made mistakes in these videos. Like, I've said that I thought things were one way when really they weren't. I'll admit that when he starts talking about the book, I was like, huh? All right, because like were you only doing the things that were written in the book? And I was like, what? Like, I kind of forgot what the Witch's Cult book even was. So I was like, what is happening? And I feel so stupid for forgetting. But like, because as soon as like it took me to the end of the episode, I'm like, what was up with the book? Oh, I feel dumb. I'm sure there's comments I'm sure there's people in the comments right now further explaining what the Witch's Gospel thing is. And from what I gather, and oh god, I can only imagine light novel fans being like, yes and no. If you're watching this live and you're in the chat, if you can explain it without spoiling what it is, or just confirm whether or not I'm way off base, then by all means do so. If I'm remembering correctly, the book is like, it tells you future events, sort of, I think, right? Yes? Maybe? I don't know. I'm such a bad fan. I'm such a bad fan. Guys, you know me. How many times have I forgotten shit? I forget shit in every show. Like, don't never forget that. There's so many times people be like, JoJo, like, it's not like that, it's like this. And I'm like, oh yeah! God damn it. Like, why am I so bad at remembering shit? Anyway, regardless, Subaru yells at Biko, over saving him, and she genuinely looks heartbroken by this. And then Subaru looks to the left. He's like, I'm sorry, why is that book here? And then Biko like picks it up and cradles it, like it's precious to her, right? And don't forget what she called Betelgeuse. She called him Goose. She was close with Goose. What does that mean? You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, like, is she holding it because it was his? But then she says some shit that put me on my heels, where Subaru's like, did everything that you've done, was it just because it was in that book? And she says, like, everything that I've done, everything I've seen, everything I've said, everything that I've been a part of was in this book. And did you really think that you could have won my heart over? You're just a guy. Like, and when she said it like that, I was like, oh, shot through the heart, and you're to blame, Biko. Gosh, dang. Like, that was, and Subaru's face of like, no. You know what I mean? Subaru's like, no, you're lying. Like, we're friends, right? But like, to her, she's like, we're not friends. Everything was in the book. I was only following the book, and I did it for Mother. Okay. Like, just like everything that she's saying is like, Biko, what the hell are you talking about? Like, that whole scene, I'm like, I feel dumb. Like, I feel either like I am not told information or I was told and have forgotten. And because I forgot about the book, I'm like, maybe they explained Biko's deal and I don't remember. But Biko has always been a total enigma to me. So her screaming about the book and Mother, and I'm like, Genova? Is this all tying into Final Fantasy VII? Like, what is... Oh my god, people are like, stop with the references, I can already hear it. But like, yeah, I'm just like, what is happening? This whole scene just kills me. And which she like, just backhands him with the book. and like draws blood doing so, by the way. I'm like, damn! Subaru's all messed up by the end of this. It ain't pretty. This whole scene, man, just ain't pretty. And I don't like seeing Biko like this. And I don't like Elsa kicking the door in. And sauntering over to Subaru going like, oh, that's cute. Like, you're trying to save her. That's sweet. And he does, because he does, right? Like, she just walks over to Biko and Subaru just, like, instinct, right? Like, just, reflectively just grabs at Elsa's leg. As if he's able to do anything in the state he's in, though. He just, like, grabs her leg, and she's like, oh, that's cute. All right. Well, I have to introduce you to a friend of mine, and my friend's name is Mr. Knife! Just, like, ends that whole scene. And thank God, when Subaru wakes up, it's not in the library. He's back in the temple thing. He's back in the trial room. Oh, thank God. I was so panicked about that, but that's not, like, the last time we see Bee in the episode. And she looked genuinely like she had genuine sorrow in her heart seeing Subaru defend her and go out defending her. Like, you can tell that did not make her feel good at all to see that. And Subaru, even, like, when he's in confinement later on in the episode, he thinks about her. You know, he says, like, I know that you said that everything you did was just in accordance with the witch's cult book thing. That you're just following orders here, like, from that book, but I know that's not true. And I would give anything to hear your voice right now. And it's like, oh, it's so sad. Like, this whole show is just like, Subaru has friends, and then those friends break his heart. It's like, damn it, man. Well, almost all those friends break his heart. Almost. Another friend's about to, though, and we're gonna talk about him first. Let's talk about Garfiel. Okay, so, yeah, him and Lasagna Boy aren't exactly the bestest buddies yet. We haven't gotten to that point, but I did consider Lasagna Boy to be an ally. I considered Lasagna Boy to be a friend, and Garf has broken my heart. He may not have broken Subaru's heart, but he absolutely broke my heart. I'm crushed by this. Like I'm crushed by this, like Lasagna Boy crushing Subaru's larynx. Yeah, this broke my heart. So, when Subaru wakes up, in the trial room, he brings out, Amelia. He doesn't hold her, though. Like, he sort of, like, walks with her out. You know, he's not, like, carrying her or anything. He just sort of, like, leaves the temple, the friggin' whatever, like, the little trial room with her. And then he makes all the right choices in the cabin. Right? Like, we've seen him make bad decisions, so he basically just runs through that cabin scene the way he did the first time around, at least I'm assuming. And then, when him and Otto are talking outside of the cabin, and we'll get to what Otto says, but when the two of them are talking, Lasagna Boy appears. And I'm like, hey, Garf, what are you up to, man? And, like, Subaru points out something that I was like, oh, yeah, that is weird. That, like, Lasagna Boy saunters in, and Subaru's like, it changed. Again, it's changing. Like, that this event doesn't happen like this. Like, what's happening, right? Like, even Subaru's like, why is it always you? Like, why is it always Lasagna Boy? Why is Lasagna Boy always saying shit that isn't how he's supposed to be feeling yet? Or, like, that he isn't supposed to be doing yet? Right? Subaru's like, again with this. Like, this is so weird. Like, I don't understand. I just don't understand, right? Like, he's like Lasagna Boy is almost an enigma right now. It's like, why? Like, he's like an anomaly. Like, everybody else is sort of following paths set out for them, whereas Lasagna Boy is, like, making different decisions in each timeline. Like, it's very bizarre. And I'm very intrigued by it. But, this basically just, like, this whole thing with Lasagna Boy is just him going like, hey, I have to take you somewhere. You're gonna have to come with me. And Subaru's like, okay. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, Subaru, I wouldn't go with him. Like, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, this seems like a bad decision. I wouldn't have done that. But Subaru does have, like, a reason for going. Because he's like, okay, well, maybe I could talk to Ryuzu, and we can figure this shit out. And that is what happens. Like, that is where Lasagna Boy takes him. And she's wearing a different outfit now. She's wearing the white outfit, which is like, okay. Why does she keep changing? Like, why does the color of the outfit change? I'm assuming it will matter later, but for now it does not. In this conversation, like, it's basically just Subaru saying, like, I have the ability to take the trial. I want to do it because I don't want Amelia to face her past right now. Like, he does know that one day, yeah, she's gonna have to. But right now, if he can save her that pain, he's gonna. And it's like, yeah, hell yeah, Subaru, I agree with you. That's not the important thing, though. Like, that's sweet, and y'all know that I ship Subaru and Amelia to the moon and back. It's adorable. Like, that scene is adorable, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is Garf. Because Garf, this boy Gar and Freddy, they have different dads. Which I was like, oh, that makes more sense. You know, that makes more sense as to why Freddy can leave in the first place. Because Garf has, like, equal balanced, he is mixed blood, like, 100%, right? Like, he is, like, half and half. Freddy, her dad was already of mixed blood, and her mom was full-out human. So they have the same mom, and she was human. But Freddy, that would make Garf half and half, and Freddy 1/4. So she's actually 1/4 mixed blood. So she's actually able to slip through the barrier totally unscathed. Now, not only is this interesting because it's like, oh, okay, so they're not like it also, like, it kind of explains their backstory. I mean, like, you don't have to be blood tied to be close to somebody, you know, but, like, it does explain why Garf's like, we're family, yeah, but she hasn't been back here in, like, 10 years, you know, like, she abandoned us. So, of course, he's going to have that sort of resentment. And they have different dads, right? So, like, maybe they didn't really get to know each other all that well. But yeah, Garf's like, nah, like, but Freddy clearly cares, whereas Garf, there's a level of resentment there. You know what I mean? Like, he's a little cold to Freddy when it comes up. Like, he's not as kind as she is to him. Or at least he doesn't think as fondly as she thinks of him, you know? But what's more interesting to me, and kind of scary, is Freddy is 1/4 mixed, right? And she can turn into that cool-ass panther-looking thing. If Garf is half, what is he gonna turn into? Because by the end of the episode, when Garf finds out that Otto freed Subaru, and again, we'll get there, he is pissed, dude. He is pissed off. And you see his hand hit the wall and then start to morph. And I'm like, what the hell is he gonna turn into? Like, if Freddy can do that, if Freddy can turn into that cool cougar thing, what is Garf gonna turn into? Like, what is his transformation gonna look like? And how bad is he going to slaughter the gang? Because let's be real here, Subaru ain't making it out of this one without a few more deaths, and we only on episode 7. And the way that this thing ends, I'm like, Garf is absolutely gonna kill Subaru next week. And we're gonna restart, you know, we're gonna restart back at the trial room again. But yeah, let's be real, Garf is definitely gonna kill everybody next week. So I'm like, what is that gonna look like? I'm very concerned. But yeah, like I said too, like we knew this was gonna end poorly for Subaru. Like when he picks Subaru up by the neck, I thought it was gonna end. This scene was gonna end with, like when Ryuzu says like, "Don't worry, we won't tell anybody what you told us. I promise." I thought it was gonna end with like snap, right? Like I thought like Garf was just gonna snap Subaru's neck right there and we'd restart. But no, it's actually way worse than that. And a part of me was dreading this because I'm like, no, this is gonna be a waste of time, right? Because I thought we were gonna be here a while. Like I thought like when Subaru gets like tied up, and like Garf is like screwing with him in that one area. That sounds weird. Don't take that out of context. I mean. I like listen. I'm sure that Dojin exists. So if you want to see that, there it is. I'm sure somebody's drawn that. But when he's like getting information out of Subaru, we'll say, just so there's no double entendre. When he's trying to get information out of Subaru, or basically just telling Subaru like why he's in confinement right now. It's like I was concerned that we were gonna spend like a few episodes with Subaru all tied up. And it's like, man, don't do this to me, like, because I need to see what's gonna happen next, and I was worried that like we'd spend like a few episodes just looking for Subaru, you know. But that's not what happens, which is I'm very thankful about. But it's interesting too that the reason he gets tied up is because Garf is like you can smell the witch's cult scent on you, like you can smell it on you, and I was gonna let you go, but then you were talking about taking the trial. And now I can't let you do that. Like now that I know that you tried to take the trial in Amelia's place, now I feel like you have ulterior motives. And what's brilliant about this scene, damn it, the writing's so good. What's brilliant about this scene is that it makes total sense. Like this whole scene, like normally I'd be like, man, I don't want to be here right now. Like we got to progress the story. We can't have Subaru getting tied up. You're gonna halt the story, Garf. No, but it makes total sense. Garf's like, I don't know what you're up to. And you smell like the witch's cult. Like, why would I ever listen to you? And I'm not gonna let you kill yourself either, because I don't know what that's gonna do. So no, you're staying here till we can figure out what the hell's going on, right? And it's like, damn. And what's worse is that Garf even like plays along. Like when everybody else goes to look for Subaru later, he's like, yeah, that's weird. You know, that's strange. Nobody ever. It's difficult for people to get their way out of that forest when they walk in there alone. And of course, Otto's like, alone. And yeah, that leads us to Otto. I will never let anybody who doubted Otto's best boy status, I will never let any of those people live this down. Ever. My boy is a best boy. He is not just a best boy, he is bestest boy. Otto. My God. Otto, what do I say? You know, like I made the joke on Twitter that I feel like Chica in that one episode of Kaguya, like I raised that boy. Like that's literally how I feel, where I'm just like, yeah, that's right. That's my son. I feel like a proud papa right now. That's my boy. That's my boy. That's my slightly dorky, well, my extremely dorky, maybe a bit money hungry boy, you know? Like, my boy, he's a merchant, he out here to make money, but he also is a good boy, you know? Like, he's my boy, he's a good boy, my Otto. And Otto, like, there's a few things that Otto does in this episode before we get to the big moment that made me go like, see, this is what I mean, this is what I'm talking about, where, like, Otto's a good lad. Because when Subaru was all calm, like after he restarts, like after the whole Biko scene, Otto rightfully says like, you're very calm, and Subaru's like, yeah, I mean, you know, gotta be calm, and he's like, no, that's not what I mean. Like, there's a world of difference between looking calm and thinking rationally. And I was like, Otto basically pulled a Molly Hooper. And I know you guys are sick of the references, but he basically pulled a Molly Hooper from Sherlock, where it's like, I know what that means, where you look sad when you think nobody can see you. You know, it's like, that's basically Otto going like, I know what you're doing, where you're looking calm when people are around. Like there's a world of difference between looking calm and actually being calm. Like, and Otto says, like, I don't think you're calm. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't outright say it, but he's just, like, you could tell that Otto's like, there's something on your mind, and I can tell. Because we're friends, but he doesn't say that part until way later. But Subaru just says like, Otto, can we please talk about this later? And he's like, oh, fine, whatever. And then when Subaru goes missing, Otto catches that alone comment from Garf, right? Now, y'all know me. I like me the Otto-Garf combo. I adore Otto-Garf Ram. That's an OT3 right there. And people said, give it time. Like, do you remember that? I'm still thinking about that. I love the fact that the ReZero community that does not diss my ships. People are like, okay, interesting. And then the other one was like, oh, you have an OT3, do you? Oh, it's Ram, Garf, and Otto, is it? Interesting. Keep your eye on things. And I was like, oh, I wonder what this means. And I'm kind of starting to see the pieces fall into place now. With Otto, like, catching that alone comment from Garf, right? And in this moment, even though I ship it, I was like, Otto, you rat Garf out right now. Like, even though I ship it, I'm like, you rat him out. Like, and, like, admittedly, too, I even wrote my notes, like, wow, Garf is really not that smart. Because he says that in front of Otto, and Otto's like, you know, like, that's a lie. No, that's wrong. See, more references. Danganronpa. But, you know, Garf then is a bit more bright and bribes Otto, and I was like, dang it, Otto. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn it, you're my boy, but you're letting your greed take over. But, you know, whatever. Again, that makes sense given Otto's character, but something even better happens, and you love to see it. Otto arrives to the damn rescue. My boy arrives to save Subaru from his confinement. And let me tell you something about that confinement, by the way. That whole scene was brilliant. Like, Subaru in that room, like, the silence, like, how eerily quiet it was. Like, you can hear Subaru's head, like, bouncing off the cement echo throughout that chamber. Like, it's such a great scene. And the fact that it's ended by Otto showing up is like, yay, Otto! Otto's, like, showing up for the big save. And I love that even says, like, of course I'm here. Like, we both never know when to quit, do we? It's like, oh, that's so friggin' sweet. And, like, Subaru's like, what the holy hell are you doing? What are you doing here, man? Right? Like, and Otto's just like, well, somebody had to come get you. Like, and Subaru's like, okay, just, like, give me the lowdown. Like, what the hell's been going on? And apparently, in universe, 3 days have passed. And the whole village has been out looking for him. They've been totally panicked. We even see a bit of this, that the whole village is like looking for him, and that Amelia has been attempting to maintain her composure, but much like Subaru, Otto can just see right through that shit. He's like, you're trying to look calm, but I doubt you're calm. And so Amelia's trying to maintain composure, but she's been also out there looking for Subaru. She's panicked, worrying about him, which of course is probably weighing on Subaru's mind. And then Subaru says, like, what do you mean, like, okay, you're saying all this like you're hearing it like secondhand. Like, aren't you out there looking for me? Like, what do you mean? Like, have you been to see them? Have you checked up on them? And that's where Otto's like, yeah, about that. I've been running since you left. Like, and you see it on his face. Like, Otto is like you can see dirt all over his face. Like, you can clearly tell he's been living out in the woods for who the hell knows how long. For 3 days? My boy, another reference. My boy was out there for 3 days running from Garf. That's got, like, running from Lasagna Boy for 3 days has to be exhausting. Like, that's gotta be nuts. Now, I at least appreciate that Lasagna Boy's like, I'm not gonna kill you, Otto. I just want you to keep your mouth shut. But I will kill you if you don't. Which, again, judging by what happens at the end of this episode, I have a feeling that's probably gonna happen next week. But Otto's been on the run. And he says, like, I was on the run this whole time because, like, Lasagna Boy offered me this, like, gem to sell you out and not say a word about where you actually were and who took you and what happened. And I refused. And Subaru's obviously like, what? You refused? What are you talking about? That's probably worth a lot of money. What do you mean you refused? I don't get it. And Otto's like, what do you mean you don't get it? We're friends. And when he said that, I'm like, and he even says, like, okay, you lost me because I don't know who Eugene is, which I can't remember the word he uses for friend. It's like Eugene or something like that. Like he basically, like, the Japanese word for friend sounds a lot like Eugene, like the name. So he's like, I'm not talking about a person named Eugene. I'm saying you're my friend. Damn it. And Subaru can't help it. Like, the dude just bursts out laughing. And Otto's, of course, embarrassed. He's like, well, great. Now I wish I didn't tell you that. Like, yeah, you're my friend. Damn it. Like, I'm not. Listen, like, he's all embarrassed and he's flustered and shit. And I'm like, the bro TP. It's so real. Like, this, like, I do not ship Otto and Subaru, okay? Because I have other ships for Otto. I have other ships for Subaru. I don't ship it. But as boys, as friends, like, as brothers, like, this is so goddamn adorable. Like the fact that they're both like, dude, and Subaru even ending it with going like, you're my friend too. It's like, it's adorable as hell. It's adorable as hell. You love to see it. Just so good. Just warms my heart, warms my icy cold heart. And of course it ends with the post-credit scene of Otto revealing that the person helping him out has been Ram this whole time. Once again, cementing the ship. Ram, Otto, and eventually, once he calms down, Lasagna Boy, the OT3, although I do think before he calms down, he's gonna kill the other members of the OT3. But hopefully it does become an OT3 again at some point. We can only hope. With that said, everybody, I'm going to wrap up my thoughts here, and I just realized that by talking about potential predictions, because again, I'm anime only, so by talking about potential stuff that I think is going to happen next week, it might welcome light novel spoilers, so for the love of God, do not spoil stuff in the comments, please and thank you. But with that said, everybody, if you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And of course, as always, I have to give a big, big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names. And hey, if you would like to join these beautiful names, then be sure to check out that first link in the description and check out our Patreon page. For less than a cup of coffee a month, just a single $1, you can see your name flying across this screen, and I would be sincerely appreciative of the help. So once again, a big thank you to the T Squadron, and that's it for me. So I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea, and just kind of unwind after the madness that was this week's episode. And until next time, you stay classy, AniTube, and you wash your dang hands.